World Health Organization on Thursday said both the Israeli military and the Palestinian militant group Hamas have agreed to abide by 3 separate short ceasefires in specific areas of the Gaza Strip to allow for a massive vaccination program to protect children from polio in the war-ravaged enclave.
A 2-round polio vaccination campaign will actually start on the 1st of September.
The WHO official overseeing the Palestinian territories said the campaign is due to start Sunday. Each pause in fighting will last 3 days, with hostilities halted between 6 a.m. and 3 p.m. local time each day.
And we start in central Gaza for 3 days, followed by South Gaza, and then followed by the north of Gaza.
The campaign comes after the WHO last week confirmed at least 1 baby has been paralyzed by the type 2 polio virus. It's the first such case in the territory in 25 years. The child, Abdul Rahman, is just days away from his first birthday. He should be learning to walk. His mother, Naveen Abu-Jidian, says he was born just weeks before the war began, and because they had been displaced from one place to another, he did not have all his routine infant vaccinations. Almost 2 months ago, she noticed something was wrong when her son couldn't crawl as usual.
Suddenly, I found a boy vomiting. He stopped moving and had a fever. He also stopped walking and crawling. I took him to the Al-Aqsa Maltayas hospital, and I was told my son might have polio. He took antibiotics for 15 days, and they took some samples from him to Jordan. I got a call from the health ministry saying Abdul Rahman is the only child and the only detected case of polio until now. It was a shock for me.
Naveen says she's in shock, especially as she says she's been told by doctors there's little more they can do for her son.
He is my only baby boy. It's his right to travel and be treated. It's his right to walk, run and move like before. It's his right to get the proper treatment, travel, get out and get his chance at life. It is unfair that he stays in this tent without care or attention.
Poliomyelitis is a highly infectious virus primarily spread through the fecal-oral route. It can invade the nervous system and cause paralysis. Cases of polio have declined by 99% worldwide since 1988, thanks to mass vaccination campaigns and efforts to continue to eradicate it completely. The UN says it is now preparing to vaccinate an estimated 640,000 children in Gaza. The latest bloodshed in the decades-old Israeli-Palestinian conflict was triggered on October 7th when the Palestinian Islamist group Hamas attacked Israel, killing 1,200 and taking about 250 hostages, according to Israeli tallies. Israel's subsequent assault on the Hamas-governed enclave has since killed over 40,000 Palestinians, according to the Hamas-run health ministry.
This is like something different, because normally we are in a stadium all together, all closed. While here we were in open air, in a special, with a special landscape around us, and we can say that was something different. I don't want to say it's better or worse, but something different.
Franchement, pour moi, j'ai trouvé que c'était incroyable. Le moment le plus émouvant, c'est quand la délégation française est arrivée. C'était incroyable, il y avait une ambiance de folie. C'était vraiment, vraiment cool.
A crude oil tanker recently attacked by Yemen's Houthis is leaking oil, but the barrels of crude oil on board remain intact. That's according to Pentagon spokesperson Sabrina Singh on Thursday.
The tanker is carrying 1 million barrels of crude oil. Those barrels remain intact right now. The vessel itself is leaking some oil from where it was hit. There is still a fire going on, or multiple fires still burning on the the ship itself.
The Houthis also released a video Thursday said to show storming and burning of the Greek-flagged tanker Sunyon in the Red Sea. The vessel has been on fire since August 23rd. Reuters was not able to independently verify the date or location the video was filmed, but the tanker's visuals are consistent with Reuters' corroborating reports. On Wednesday, the Iran-aligned militants said they would allow salvage crews to tow the ship to safety, a move that may help avoid what experts warned could be a devastating spill of 150,000 tons of crude oil. As salvage operations began on Sunyon, the EU's Red Sea naval mission Aspides said on Thursday that no oil spill has been detected. The Houthis have launched more than 70 attacks on commercial ships in solidarity with Palestinians in the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. In their 10-month campaign, the group has sunk 2 ships and killed at least 3 crew members. That has disrupted global trade by forcing ships to avoid the Suez Canal shortcut. The Houthis said in a televised speech they attacked the tanker in part because the Athens-based company Delta Tankers violated its ban on, quote, entry to the ports of occupied Palestine.
A new Reuters Ipsos poll showed that Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris has widened her lead over her Republican rival, Donald Trump. The poll, published on Thursday, showed Harris with 45% support among registered voters, while Trump had 41%.
Trump's problem today is that he's behind and he's running out of time.
Dr. Hank Scheinkopf, political consultant at Scheinkopf Communications, says women voters are helping to widen Harris's lead.
Part of what's moving the women's vote certainly is reproductive rights issues across the country. The Supreme Court's ruling outlawing Roe versus Wade, the Dobbs decision, motivating voters to turn out to vote for someone who, frankly, supports what they think is most important.
Reuters recently spoke to voters in Phoenix, Arizona, including Claudia Lohman, an immigrant who arrived in the U.S. at the age of 7. She said she is most concerned about reproductive rights.
For me, it's Roe versus Wade. That is the thing that really upsets me the most. I've got nieces who are very, very young, and the fact that they are growing up with less rights than I did, is just tremendously terrible. And that is the one driving force that I've got in this election season for me.
The new Reuters Ipsos poll showed Trump led among white voters and men, both by similar margins as in July.
American men are paranoid and concerned about the changing economic system, about the jobs that they can't fill, that they don't know how to fill. Technology is a threat. And frankly, the fact that the United States, for the first time in its history, more than 50% of the people who live here cannot identify as Europeans going back in their family history.
Since President Joe Biden ended his candidacy, Harris has gained ground against Trump. But in the 7 states where the 2020 election was closest, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, North Carolina, Michigan, and Nevada, Trump had a 45 to 43% lead over Harris in the latest poll.
And she's got to somehow convince middle-class Americans, whether they're black, white, or Latino, or Asian for that matter, that she has their best interests at heart long term.
NASA aims to undock the troubled Boeing Starliner capsule on September the 6th without any crew. That's according to the space agency on Thursday. The Starliner had run into issues with its propulsion system, with glitches detected within the first 24 hours of its flight to the International Space Station, making a crewed return too risky. The 2 astronauts who flew in the Starliner to the ISS in June were only meant to be there around 10 days. But NASA and Boeing kept extending their stay as the craft's issue became clear. And last week, the agency decided the pair would have to wait until February next year to return in a different vehicle from SpaceX. NASA says the Starliner's uncrewed return is expected to take about 6 hours, with ground teams guiding the spacecraft through undocking, re-entry, and landing at White Sands Space Harbor in New Mexico. The agency also said the Starliner has previously completed 2 prior uncrewed entries and landings during orbital flight tests. Meanwhile, on Wednesday, the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration grounded SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket. It follows the failure of a routine landing attempt during a Starlink mission. and this marks the second time the FAA has grounded SpaceX this year. It may also delay SpaceX's Polaris Dawn mission, which plans to send 4 private astronauts on the first commercial spacewalk.
OpenAI could soon have some big new backers. Media reports say Apple and Nvidia are in talks to join a new fundraising round for the ChatGPT maker. The Wall Street Journal first reported the iPhone maker's interest, while Bloomberg reported on Nvidia's potential involvement. There was no immediate comment from any of the companies concerned. But OpenAI has become increasingly important to Apple, which is bringing ChatGPT to its phones. The exact amounts that it and others might invest remain undisclosed. Microsoft, which is OpenAI's top strategic investor, is also expected to be involved in the new funding. Overall, it's thought the round could value the chatbot maker at over $100 billion, around $20 billion up on a February estimate. Separately Thursday, OpenAI said ChatGPT now had more than 200 million weekly users. That's double the number late last year, and comes less than 2 years after the bot was launched. The outfit, run by Sam Altman, says 92% of Fortune 500 companies are now using its products.
The Dow notched another record high close on Thursday, while the Nasdaq was dragged lower by shares of Nvidia after a forecast from the AI chip darling failed to impress investors. The Dow added 0.6%, the S&P 500 was flat, and the Nasdaq dipped marginally. Even though Nvidia reported earnings late Wednesday that beat estimates, its quarterly revenue forecast disappointed investors who have grown accustomed to blowout results. Nvidia's stock fell more than 6%, trimming this year's gains to 137%. Ben McMillan is Chief Investment Officer and co-founder of IDX Advisors.
They issued some downward guidance as it relates to their new Blackwell processor lineup, which everybody's excited about. That's proving to be a little bit more challenging to manufacture than anticipated. They did and also announced a $50 billion stock buyback, which is positive, very positive, reflects continued confidence in their cash flow. But I think investors are starting to question, the growth rate going forward. And with these high-flying tech stocks, particularly, AI-related this year,
other AI-related stocks were mixed. Shares of Microsoft gained, while Google owner Alphabet dipped. Apple rose about 1.5% after Citigroup named the iPhone maker its top AI pick. Among other movers, shares of Dollar General slumped a whopping 32% after the company slashed its annual sales and profit forecast. Investors now turn their attention to Friday's personal consumption expenditures report for July, which could offer hints on the trajectory of the Federal Reserve's upcoming rate cuts.
Shell plans to scale back its oil and gas exploration and development workforce by 20%. That's what company sources have exclusively told Reuters. They say CEO Wael Sawan will expand his cost savings drive to the highly profitable division after deep cuts in renewables and low carbon businesses. The sources added restructuring will see hundreds of jobs go around the world. It will be particularly felt at its offices in Houston, The Hague, and to a lesser degree in Britain. The planned 20% reduction is subject to consultations with employee representatives bodies, according to the sources. Shell's oil and gas production division made up over 1/3 of the company's $28 billion in adjusted earnings last year. Exploration is vital for oil and gas companies in order to replenish depleting reserves and discover new resources. A Shell spokesman would not comment on the reduction figures. Shell shares were slightly up Friday morning following the news. Sawan took office in January last year. He's vowed to boost profitability and bring its share valuation closer to larger US rivals.
That Ashton Kutcher, the Hollywood actor known for his goofy roles, is completely different in the business world. Yep, that's right. Kutcher, who made a name for himself in Hollywood, also appeared on Shark Tank as a guest investor and surprised everyone with a sharp business acumen. Let's take a look at how Ashton Kutcher, the investor, compares to Ashton Kutcher, the actor. Back in 2015, Kutcher and Mark Cuban invested in Slide handboards, and the results were impressive. Slide's founder, Steve Watts, revealed that both Kutcher and Cuban have been incredibly supportive supportive since the deal, staying in regular contact and offering advice without being overbearing. Kutcher, in particular, was hands-on, consulting on marketing and distribution, but he let the founders run the business. As Watts put it, they supported us every step of the way. After their episode aired, Slide saw explosive growth, with a 300% increase in business. Kutcher's approach to investing? He believes in helping but not controlling. As he said, if you invest in the right people, it's in your best interest to be helpful but not overbearing. Fans loved seeing this side of him, with many on Reddit praising his down-to-earth attitude and insightful feedback on Shark Tank. One fan commented, "It's cool to see him show off his smarts and be pretty down-to-earth at the same time." But while Kutcher's investment game is strong, his Hollywood career hasn't always gone as smoothly. For instance, Sharon Osbourne once called him the rudest celebrity she ever met, and Natalie Portman revealed that he was paid 3 times more than her for their film No Strings Attached. Portman highlighted the pay disparity in Hollywood, saying, "We get paid a lot, so it's hard to complain, but the disparity is crazy." Kutcher's ties with Danny Masterson have also brought him negative press, leading him to step back from acting and focus more on his business ventures. In the end, Ashton Kutcher may have faced some bumps in Hollywood, but in the world of business, he's killing it. From Twitter to Slide handboards, Kutcher knows how to pick the right investments and keep it real at the same time. Who knew the guy from that 70s show had this much hustle? Looks like Ashton Kutcher is more than just a Hollywood face, he's a shark in the business world too.
面对变幻交织的国际形势，各国需要团结协作，而不是分裂对抗。人民希望开放进步，而不是封闭倒退。尽管中美两国各自情况和中美关系都发生了很大的变化，但是中方致力于中美关系稳定、健康、可持续发展的目标没有变。
President Biden is committed to responsibly managing this consequential relationship to ensure that competition does not veer into conflict or confrontation, and to work together where our interests align. We are committed to maintaining high-level diplomacy, and to this end, President Biden looks forward to engaging with you again in the coming weeks.